right, so we're going to continue our video series on some of these interviews. So y'all know I've been reading the book Linda and Jeannie and Elvis, Jeannie LeMay. And we know that Linda Thompson, she was with Elvis. I would say she was with Elvis a little longer than Anita would when it comes to being around him all the time. Because there was some separation of Elvis being in the Army. Not as long as Priscilla Presley, although you might even argue that Elvis was around Linda Thompson more than he was around Priscilla Presley, even though she effectively moved into Grayson in 63, and they really didn't get separated until 71-ish, 72. Because Linda was with him 24/7, at least for the first year. And Linda went to the Vegas shows. She was around a lot for the first several years. I would say the first 2, 3, maybe the first 3 years, and then, whatever happened, there's a lot of did Elvis ask Linda to marry him? Did Elvis want to marry Linda? Did Linda not want to get married? I think there was an issue where they both talked marriage, but they talked them at opposite ends of the spectrum. I think Elvis may have talked about it right away, and then when Linda wanted to get married a little bit later on, I think that's what it was, and Elvis didn't want to get married. So, the new had worn off. I'm always a big proponent of when you feel something, do something about it. My wife and I bought an engagement ring within, it was either 7 days or 10 days. I feel like it was within 7 days, but it's been so long now that I can't exactly remember. But I bought it almost immediately. My first date, I'd known my wife a little bit. We did some songwriting at the Nashville Songwriters Association International. We met on New Year's Day, 2006. We started writing about a month later, and then on a few days after Valentine's Day, we went on our first date. Called my mom, called my best friend, bought the ring. I didn't ask her to marry me until my birthday. Trying to figure out special times. My birthday has very special significance to it. Not just that I was born, but my first 3 boys. I found out. Well, my first 2 boys, I found out on my birthday that I was going to be a father. Happy birthday, right? And then. I asked my wife to marry me on my birthday. I always joke when we play shows, and I asked her because how could she say no? It's my birthday. Does she want to ruin my birthday? It's funny. It's like, I don't know whether I intentionally did or I just, but anyways, so when it comes to Elvis and Linda, maybe they would have gotten married right away if either one or the other. I think it was Elvis that wanted to get married. If Linda was fine with getting married at 20 years old. But I think that she had her, I think that the Southern thing, I think maybe you don't get married right away. Maybe you court for a while and all this other stuff. But regardless, Linda Thompson's a very, very, very interesting character in the life of Elvis Presley. Not just that, in this interview she talks about Caitlyn, Bruce Jenner. So, I've always thought it takes a very patient, kind, loving individual to deal with 2 people that are extra. We love Elvis, but Elvis was extra. He was very simple on one side, very simple human being. But at the same time, his fame, everything that went along with it, and the schedule, and the loss of his mother, and and even like these self-insecurity issues that Elvis had all through his life. That was extra, and Linda dealt with it, and I think she dealt with it pretty dang good from what I can see on my side, but I always want to know your thoughts. I'm not an expert on Linda Thompson and Elvis Presley, so if there's stuff that y'all know, and I think somebody said she's gone Hollywood, is what Elvis said about Linda. Somebody's put that in a comment. I'm just curious about when that was. Anyways, here's the interview. I hope you enjoy it.
With Bruce Jenner, award-winning songwriter Linda Thompson has lived a life worthy of tabloid headlines. Now, after 40 years of silence, she's opened up in her new memoir, A Little Thing Called Life. Let's all welcome Linda Thompson to the show. Welcome. So good to have you.
Oh, it's so nice to be here. Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thank you. Thank you
get to
very
sit
much.
in my special swivel
All
seat.
righty, thank you.
You've lived quite a life, if I may say.
I am astonished by my life. You know, when I went back and started excavating all the old memories and went through my notes and everything and started writing my memoir, I had to stop several times and go, gosh, you know, my life has been extraordinary.
And now you're putting it all in a book.
Well, not all, but...
Well, I know, I was going to say,
Gotta keep
the whole movies with Elvis. I don't think we can do that,
What
right?
was that like?
Yeah.
What was it like being Elvis's girlfriend?
You know, we were kindred spirits. When the moment we met, we recognized each other as having known each other our whole lives because we had the same spirit. You know, he grew up in the South, I grew up in the South. All things Southern, that same religious fervor we shared, the sense of family, the familial ties, and a cuisine, and just, you know, just kind of down-home people.
Nice.
As magnificent as he was and as exalted as he was, you know, in the public eye and as, you know, the kind of person he was still a very simple and kind and good man.
And, you know...
And then to transition to Bruce Jenner.
Well, I thought I had found my normal. You know, don't anybody ask me for advice. No, you know, I truly, when I broke up with Elvis, it was because I knew I wanted to be a mother and I wanted to have a more normal existence. And Elvis and I lived like vampires. You know, we were up all night. He couldn't go anywhere without being mobbed. So we were up all night and slept all day. And I knew I couldn't have a child and bring a child into that kind of world. And he had a problem with prescription medication. So I thought when I met Bruce, I had found, you know, my normal existence with this fantastic jock and
all-American man,
yes.
world's greatest athlete.
Athlete,
Yes.
Olympic decathlete.
At that time.
Yes, and a really good person as well, you know, moral and ethical and kind and easy to get along with.
And now...
And now we have Kaitlyn in the family. So it's, you know, and it's, you know, and it is worthy of confusion. You know, I understand that people have a very difficult time with it. Nobody understands that more than I do, that it's difficult to comprehend. But I like to point out that we don't have to understand something to just accept it and be kind about it.
Well, I love one of your major themes. I take issue sometimes when someone writes a memoir and all they do is slander everyone they've ever met in their life. I actually really appreciate the kind words you've had to say about people that you've met in your life. It's a real.
I'm grateful.
I think it's
I'm really
refreshing.
grateful. Thank you for pointing that out.
And I would say kudos to you for that.
I still love them. I still love everybody that I've ever loved in my life.
How does it go as co-grandparents with Kaitlyn, I have to ask?
Well, you know, Kaitlyn is a lot more present than Bruce was in as far as my sons go, Brandon and Brody. And
how interesting is that?
It is, and it's funny, you'll get the humor in this too, because sometimes Brandon and Brody will say, Mom, Dad called and she wants to know if she's invited for Thanksgiving. I said, okay, Mom called and she.
I wonder if being so much more comfortable with yourself really then allows you to fully engage.
I am very happy for her that she is now living in the skin that she felt she should have been born in. And again, you know, you look at people, you have no idea what they may be going through in life, the kind of internal struggles they may be having. And yeah, it's hard to comprehend, but they, you know, transgenders are still a small part of the population, but they exist and they're human.
Great
it's just part of the human condition. We're all variant, you know, we all are so different, and we need to embrace each other.
And on that note, we had Kaitlyn as Bruce on the show with Travis and I, and we talked about golf and sports and all these things.
She still loves golf.
Was delightful. Can you extend an invitation to come back?
Sure.
As Kaitlyn.
As Kaitlyn, yeah.
Linda, I congratulate you on all these adventures in your life, and thank you for sharing. Her memoir is called A Little Thing Called Life, and everyone in the
Think about that. Do we learn anything new? Do we have a different opinion of Linda? Is our opinion raised? Is it lower? Let me know. This is Rarest Photos. I'm just getting to the golf course. Wish me luck. I'm hoping to win the tournament, and I'm hoping to win my division this year. That's kind of my goal. All right, TCB, TLC. Until next time, much love, much kindness, and much grace and forgiveness for everybody out there. You know, we all have done terrible things in our life that we're not proud of, and I think sometimes we forget that we've got to forgive ourselves for anything to move on. So if that's a message you needed to hear, I'm glad. TCB, TLC, till next time.